迷雾降世，神明复苏。在灰白色的地球上，大夏已成唯一的孤岛。觉醒禁虚能力的超凡之人因此集结，束手长夜，警戒来人。他们被称为守夜人，而被7位神明选中的少年07夜，执掌囚禁诸神的病院，破除封禁，踏上为誓言坚守10年的斩神之路。
我再说最后一次，大夏境内，神明进行。
5 years ago, Xiao began having strange dreams. Every night when he went to sleep, he would find himself standing outside the gates of a mysterious and eerie mental hospital. In this illogical dream, he would knock on the door of the mental hospital night after night, hoping to gain entry. For 5 years, he has been haunted by this recurring dream, and although this mental hospital seems to be calling out to him, he has never been able to enter. He has come to understand that in this strange world, he is powerless to do anything else but knock on the door. Someone was knocking at Lin Qia's door. It was his younger cousin Yang Jing, calling out to him that the food was ready. Yang Jing is Lin Qia's aunt's son, 4 years younger. Since Lin Qia's parents went missing, he had been staying with his aunt's family and growing up together with Yang Jing. Their relationship was closer than that of real brothers. For 10 years, Lin Qia, his aunt, his cousin Yang Jing, and a little black dog had formed a close-knit family. Being blind from a young age, he relied heavily on his aunt and cousin for support. He always felt indebted to them for their help and kindness. The doctor is here again to check on his status. The doctor asked Lin Qia how he had lost his sight. Lin Qia answered that it was because of what he had seen 10 years ago. On that fateful night, he saw an angel, Michael, before the moon. Under the dark, silent sky, the barren surface of the moon reflected only a dim starlight. In the center of the largest crater on the moon stood a figure that seemed like a statue, gazing down upon the world. Golden rays of light shone around him, and 6 golden wings spread behind his back. His majestic presence was deeply imprinted in Lin Qia's mind, and he could not forget it. Lin Qia locked eyes with the angel for a moment, and from that day forward, he could no longer open his eyes. But that's just my delusion, Lin Qia put up his hands and added. When he told the doctor what he had seen before, he was diagnosed with a delusional mental illness and was sent to Sunlight Mental Hospital for treatment for a year. Nowadays, Lin Qia no longer tries to explain what had happened to him to any mental health professionals. No one would believe his story, and it would only lead to him being sent back to the mental hospital. Instead, he jokes around with the doctors during their visits and lets them think what they want. The doctor proceeds to conclude that he is normal on the paper and left. During dinner, Yang Jing asked, "Brother, are your eyes getting better?" Lin Qia smiled slightly and replied, "Yes, but I'm still not very good with bright lights." He further announced that he was planning on taking the college entrance exams. He knew that he needed to catch up with his peers by transferring from a school for the blind to a regular high school. His goal was to attend a university and secure a good job so that he could repay his aunt and cousin who had taken care of him all these years. After returning to his room and closing the door, Lin Qia slowly removing the satin ribbon from his eyes. With all his might, he tried to open them, clenching his fists and shaking his body in desperation. But after a long while of trembling and gasping for air, he realized that his eyes still wouldn't open. Lin Qia, though he had lied about his sight being restored, he still couldn't open his eyes, not even a sliver. However, he wasn't entirely dishonest either, for he could see everything around him, even with his physical eyes closed. 5 years ago, Lin Qia's eyes began to change, allowing him to perceive everything around him in a new way. At first, he could only see a few centimeters, but over time his vision improved, allowing him to see farther and clearer. Now, after 5 years, he can see up to 10 meters away. For a normal person, this might not be a great distance, but for him who had lost his sight, it was everything. What's more, His vision was unobstructed, which meant he had an absolute or perspective view. Looking up at the bright moon in the sky, Lin Xie whispered to himself, "Are you still watching over me?" With a long sigh, he turned his head and prepared to sleep, knowing that he would soon be knocking on the door in his dream once again. At this moment, in the old city district of Sengnan, under the dim moonlight, a secret battle is unfolding. Several figures wearing red cloaks are moving quickly through the old buildings, chasing after a mysterious monster ahead. The monster wears a mask on its head, and its fingertips are full of power. On the other side, a burly man was carrying a notice board and calmly placed it down, adjusting it to be straight. The notice board had several large words that were very eye-catching, reading, "No entry." The man then lit a cigarette for himself and put on his earphones. "Captain, the third notice board is in place," he said before forming a hand seal with his fingers and narrowing his gaze. A mysterious energy burst forth from him, centered on his body. The man crouched down and made another hand seal, before disappearing into a void, opening up a boundary-free spatial realm. A dark red beam of light shot up into the sky. If someone were to look down upon the city of Sengnan from the sky at this moment, they would notice 3 points of light flickering near the old town area. Then, using these 3 points as vertices, a dark red equilateral triangle-shaped barrier is quickly formed. As soon as the triangle barrier takes shape, half of the old town area, which it covers, starts to gradually disappear from the map. The mysterious monsters being chased are now trapped within the barrier and cannot escape. The red-cloaked figures chasing it have already started their elimination mission. At Singnan City No. 6 Middle School, a young man holding a white cane drew attention from the crowd as he entered the gate of the school. They whispered and stared at him, some even admired his handsome appearance. However, some also wondered how he could attend classes here since there was no special class for the blind in their school. Despite their discussions, Lin Xie walked confidently toward the teaching building. He had experienced this kind of discussion many times in his life to be bothered by it. He has come prepared to face all kinds of challenges, including dealing with bullies, discrimination against disabled people like him, and being an outsider among classmates. As Lin Xie walked into the classroom of Grade 10 Class 2, after a brief introduction by the teacher, everything he expected did not come true. Instead, he was greeted with a warm welcome from his classmates. A girl quickly stepped forward to help him. "Xie, let me take you to your seat." Before Lin Xie could react, several classmates approached him, enthusiastically looking after him. After class, they gathered around his seats. "Xie, I'm the class monitor, Jiang Qian. If you need anything, just let me know," said the first girl to lend him a hand, patting her chest. "I'm Li Fei. If you want to grab a bite, let me know. I'll take you there." The boy who helped him with the bag laughed. "And I'm Lu Yuan," said the boy sitting. At that moment, Lin Xie was a bit at a loss. To be honest, it was not what he had imagined. He muttered in a strange tone, "Do you all know me?" Only then did a classmate say that Lin Xie's aunt had come by before. That day, Lin Xie's aunt stood at the entrance of the classroom and sent each of the students off with sweets, asking them to take care of Lin Xie. In an instant, it was like a thunderbolt struck Lin Xie's mind. So that was it. He wiped the slight dampness off the ribbon on his eyes, which had appeared unknowingly. Until the teacher for the next class came in, Lin Xie's attention was turned to focus on the lesson. The teacher explained 100 years ago, there were still more than 200 countries on Earth, distributed across the 7 continents and 4 oceans. However, on that day, a boundless and mysterious fog suddenly appeared over the South Pole. The poisonous fog spread at an alarming speed, and in just 24 hours, it had engulfed nearly 98% of the Earth's surface. The fog was completely beyond human understanding, and no detection methods could penetrate it. No one knew if there were any other countries outside the fog, and perhaps the Xiao is the last survivor on this planet. As Lin Xie is focusing in class, the battle between the secret red-cloaked individuals and the mysterious monster in the sewage system of Sengnan City continued. A girl with a long spear in hand pierced through the air and split the mask-wearing monster in front of her into 2. She turned to her teammates and shouted, "Don't leave any behind, kill them all!" 2 other members of the Red Cloak team responded, and they formed a triangle formation, standing firm against their opponents. The long spear girl waved her spear and a bloody red light flashed through the air, instantly killing 3 monsters in front of her. Her decisive and powerful fighting skills were apparent, as she was the team's main damage dealer. Just as the long spear girl finished the battle and relaxed, boasting about her victory, the man next to her looked horrified and said in a stuttering voice, "Honging, be behind." Suddenly, behind the long gun girl, an abnormally tall ghost-faced monster appeared. Just as Hong Ying's teammates reminded her to turn around, in an instant, a huge force claw behind her pierced her chest, and blood splattered. The tall ghost-faced monster swung its force claw and threw Hong Ying several meters away. This sudden change caught the other 2 teammates off guard. At this moment, Hong Ying did not faint, but rather gritted her teeth and spoke into her earpiece, reporting that there had been a serious misjudgment in the operation. The earpiece immediately transmitted an urgent call, but this time there was no answer. At dusk, after school at number 6 high school, groups of students chatted and walked through the sunset. After a day of torment, this was their most relaxed time. Jiang Qian, Li Yifei, and Lu Yuan specially accompanied Lin Qie home after school. When the 4 of them arrived at an abandoned sewage tunnel, Lin Qie suddenly stopped. This smell. A nauseating stench suddenly rushed into his nostrils. As a person who had been blind for a long time, his other senses were especially sensitive. The other 3 people noticed that Lin Qie had stopped and followed his gaze, becoming curious about the deep and dark abandoned tunnel. Lin Qie asked if the other 3 had smelled anything strange. With his signal, they also noticed a particularly pungent odor. The 4 of them moved toward the dark tunnel, but as they approached, the odor became stronger and stronger. Lu Yuan turned on his phone's flashlight. What they saw was a shocking scene. The first thing they saw was a female corpse covered in bloodstains, which frightened Jiang Qian to the point of weakness in the legs, causing the other 2 to back away in terror. This was not something ordinary high school students had ever seen. Surprisingly, Lin Qie behind the 3 had no reaction as his perceptual distance was only 10 meters, and he had no idea what had happened ahead. Just as Lu Yuan was retreating in fear, the beam of light from his phone swept upwards, and the 3 saw that the female corpse was being bitten on the shoulder by a monster the size of a brown bear. The monster also saw the people clearly at this moment, let go of the female corpse, and roared fiercely at them. The first one to react was Li Yifei. He turned around and ran, reminding the 3 of them not to stand there and start running quickly. The other 2 ran out. The screams of the 3 made Lin Qie nervous, but he still didn't know what was happening in front of him. When the monster caught up, its huge figure appeared in Lin Qie's absolute vision. At this moment, Lin Qie had already fallen behind the 3. Jiang Qian, who was in front of Lin Qie, turned her head back and looked at the situation, but the monster was too fast, and if she continued to run, she would definitely be caught. In the next moment, she quickly pulled off her backpack and threw it at Lin Qie. Perhaps she thinks that it's okay if she can't outrun the monster, as long as she can outrun others. Lin Qie was taken aback. He couldn't believe that the shy and kind class monitor would actually attack him like this. In a split second, Lin Qie reacted, lowered his body, and avoided the backpack that was thrown at him. The backpack flew past him and hit the monster behind him. Jiang Qian had just run out of the tunnel at this moment. The next moment, another terrifying figure suddenly appeared in the sight of Lin Qie. The terrifying figure instantly bit down on Jiang Qian's head. At this moment, Lin Qie was surrounded by monsters in front and behind, and a resolute will erupted at this moment. He had to fight. The white cane in his hand became his weapon, and with the will to survive, he sent a fierce blow toward the monster in front of him. With a bang, the monster was forcibly knocked to the side. However, a sharp pain came from below, as the monster behind him swung its powerful claw and hit his leg, causing him to tumble out. After the severe pain, his leg was seriously injured and unusable. At this time, Lin Xie quickly checked the situation. The monster that he had knocked to the side was now gnawing at Jiang Qian. Another monster was slowly approaching him from the front. All the hungry growls from behind could be heard. Suddenly, a monster appeared above his head and pounced toward him. At this moment, Lin Xie wanted to curse. Why was he so unlucky? For so many years, he had been injured, blinded, and treated as a mental patient. He had endured everything so far. Finally, he was about to start a new life, but he met these ugly monsters. A sense of despair swept over him. Under the pressure of death, the anger and resentment that had been suppressed in Lin Xie's heart for years erupted like a volcano. He was not convinced. A strange feeling suddenly surged into his heart. The pair of eyes that had been tightly closed for 10 years suddenly opened, and dazzling golden light shone through the red ribbon. At this moment, the angel on the moon palace felt something and looked back at the human world. Lin Xie was enveloped in a blazing light, and his golden pupils glanced at the monster above him. The monster burst into pieces, leaving only scattered blood stains. In an instant, a brilliant column of hot light erupted from the edge of the old city, reaching up to the sky. As Lin Xie was facing a life-and-death crisis, several minutes before he unleashed his powerful force, the man who placed the notice sign had removed the boundless domain, running through the streets. The rugged man is contacting the heavily injured spear-wielding girl Honging. Honging has already been rescued by her teammates, and her injuries have been stabilized by their power of forbidden ruin. By then, the mission of the three-person team had failed, and the giant monster who attacked Honging was a king-level monster, Ghost Mask King, who had ascended from the group of monsters. Upon being informed of the appearance of the Ghost Mask King, and that 3 Ghost Mask monsters have fled, the rugged man turned around and rushed to the possible escape route of the Ghost Mask monsters. Just then, a dazzling light shone from the front of the rugged man. The next moment, a pillar of scorching light shot up to the sky, and the sudden change surprised the man. The huge pillar of light appeared in full view of the public. The person in the red cloak turned his head to look, his eyes full of shock. This forbidden ruin power was at least level 5, or possibly level 6, Klein. They all had the same question in their minds. Why such a powerful being is at this small city of Tsengnan? Another person in the red cloak, who was monitoring the situation from behind, immediately made a judgment after seeing Lin Xie awaken. This was not like the common forbidden ruin, but more like the ruin from the divine world, divine ruin. The light was scorching, sacred, and powerful. If he was not mistaken, it was the power of the divine, the king of angels, Michael, code name 003. Those who possess the power of divine ruin are chosen by the gods to be their agents in the world, and Lin Xie is one such person chosen by the Archangel Michael. 10 years ago, he locked eyes with him and never opened his eyes again. But now, in the face of desperation, Lin Xie opens his eyes again, and the aura of the angel and the power of a god pour out from his eyes, like 2 burning suns that seem to be able to destroy everything. Under the attacks by the Ghost Mask monsters, Lin Xie noticed the changes in himself. These monsters moved slower in his eyes. And not only his reflection but also his absolute vision range has doubled from 10 to 20 meters. Within these 20 meters, he knows everything. When facing the monster's attacks again, this time he doesn't need to dodge anymore. He toyed with the broken guide cane in his hand and stares at the monsters with his eyes. The pressure of the divine power rushes into the monster's body, and at that moment, the monster sees Lin Xie as a supreme mystery with 6 wings, emitting terrifying pressure. Under this power, the monster's body stiffens momentarily. In this brief moment, Lin Xie lifts the broken guide cane high and stabs the monster's right eye accurately, piercing through its brain and wiping out all its vitality. The massive body falls to the ground. However, in the next second after Lin Xie defeated the monster, an unprecedented feeling of detachment suddenly emerged in Lin Xie's body. He felt completely drained of energy, even slightly dizzy, and was unable to move his body. Although he had awakened the power of divine ruin, the recent burst of energy still originated from the power of the gods. After using up that power, he was still an ordinary person who had not yet undergone any training. Like a child wielding a large sword, he couldn't last long in battle. The other two monsters that were supposed to be escaping suddenly stopped in their tracks, seeing Lin Xie all weak and vulnerable. The monsters weren't going to let him off that easily. In the next moment, one of them attacked him with its long, spiked tongue. He was now in a situation where he could not avoid the impending danger, and the fate of being devoured by the monster seemed inevitable. Just then, the sound of urgent footsteps suddenly echoed, followed by a crisp sound of a blade being unsheathed. In an instant, the blade was dragged to the ground, leaving a deep scratch, and then lifted up against the monster. The sword strike hit the long tongue of the monster, leaving Lin Xie stunned and incredulous. The mysterious man let out a low roar, and with muscles tense, he took a step forward and changed the angle of the blade, which became a crescent moon that swept forward, cleaving the fierce monster in half in an instant. Lin Xie couldn't believe what he had just witnessed. Who was this man with such incredible strength? After the man sheathed his sword, he calmly lit a cigarette and spoke in a matter-of-fact tone. "The area is now secured. Let the backup team clean up the battlefield." The mysterious man is none other than the rough man who was setting up the notice signs in front. At this moment, the man took a deep breath, and as he felt the burning gaze from behind, he couldn't help but speak up first. "Aren't I cool? This move of mine, is it cool?" Lin Xie was a bit stunned and stared into the man's eyes for a moment, realizing that his question was actually serious. He questions casually. "Cool?" The rough man pointed his finger and said, "That's right. Do you want to join me and be as cool as me?" "No." Lin Xie's response was resolute, as if he had thought it over carefully beforehand. The rough man was taken aback and quickly asked why. Lin Xie's answer was very simple: easy to die, which is also why he answered in a serious tone. The rugged man's mouth twitched slightly, but he had no choice but to introduce himself as the young man in front of him who possessed such powerful strength. The man's name was Xiao Kongcheng, and he wasn't a bad person. He wanted to invite Lin Xie to a different place to chat. Lin Xie readily agreed, but said he needed to find his backpack first, as he had to bring his study materials back. Xiao Kongcheng waited for him there on the spot. He thought to himself, "Damn it, I've used every trick I have, and I still can't handle this little brat?" Unconsciously, Xiao Kongcheng was lost in thought, and before he knew it, Lin Xie had disappeared. Yes, Lin Xie had run away. In the time that Xiao Kongcheng was stunned, Lin Xie chose to go straight home. When Lin Xie returned home, he saw his cousin Yang Jing still doing homework. After a brief greeting, he went back to his own room. But what Lin Xie didn't notice was that Yang Jing had poked the small black dog on the head with a pen and said, "Did you smell it too? He has the smell of blood on him." Lin Xie was truly exhausted when he returned to his room, both mentally and physically. He never expected that so much would happen on his first day of transferring to a new school. That man who wanted to recruit him was definitely not an ordinary person. From the way he reported on his walkie-talkie, there must be a huge organization behind him, possibly involving the dark side of this world. Although Lin Xie also wanted to know what had happened, he knew some things were better left unknown, as once he knew, he could never escape. He didn't want to be a hero. He just wanted to protect his own home. And so, in a daze, he fell asleep. In his dream, he found himself standing in front of the hospital gate again, the repeated dream for the past 5 years. Lin Xie in the dream sighed helplessly. Here we are again. We have to fight monsters when we're awake and knock on the door when we're asleep. Tough life. Just as Lin Xie was about to reach out to knock on the familiar gate, a strong tremor sensation came over him. It seemed like a power was guiding him. Suddenly, a thought flashed through his mind like lightning. Perhaps the gate that has blocked me for 5 years can finally be opened. He pushed the gate with all his might, and a dull creaking sound came out as the gate finally opened. After 5 years, he finally entered the building. Lin Xie stepped into the building. He was feeling strange as the design and layout is very similar to the mental hospital he had lived in years ago. until he discovered the only difference: the ward area. As he walked up to the door of one of the wards, Lin Chia suddenly stopped. The door was covered in strange symbols and graphics, densely packed like some kind of seal, which was very eerie. Coupled with the fact that this hospital was named Gods, could it really be that it was holding gods inside? Lin Chia hesitated for a moment, then slowly reached for the door handle of the first ward. He wanted to see if there were really any patients living in these rooms. Lin Chia pulled the handle hard, and the intricate patterns and designs carved on the door seemed to be activated and gradually dissipated into the air. A colorful light shone out from the room, which startled him, and he took a few steps back, staring fixedly ahead. As soon as the door opened, he saw a woman in a black starry dress sitting on the bed in the dim light. She had her head bowed and looked a bit dazed, as if she hadn't even noticed someone had opened the door. The strange atmosphere made Lin Chia uncomfortable, but he forced a smile and walked into the room, greeting her. "Hello, I'm Lin Chia. May I ask if you are?" Before he could finish, rows of words appeared in the void of the room. Patient's name Nix. Task is to help Nix treat her mental illness. When the treatment progress reaches the specified values of 1%, 50%, and 100%, he can randomly draw some of Nix's abilities. The current treatment progress is 0%. Lin Chia took a deep breath as he suddenly realized what this name represented. In Greek mythology, Nix was the goddess of the night and one of the 5 primordial deities, representing the darkness and ruling over the night. She was one of the most powerful goddesses, with strong abilities that could control mortals and other gods. Lin Chia was shocked. Even such a powerful goddess could suffer from mental illness and require treatment from him. However, Nix did not specify what illness she had. As a former mental patient, Lin Chia was familiar with some types of mental illness. He looked at the elegant and cold Nix and awkwardly asked if she could hear him and if she understood him. Suddenly, Nix's body trembled, startling Lin Chia. She shouted, "My child!" and then looked straight at him with a dazed expression. Just as Lin Chia was joking about how a Greek goddess could suddenly speak Chinese, Nix's body trembled again, and tears welled up in her eyes. After choking back sobs for a while, she called out to Lin Chia in a hoarse voice, "I finally found you, my child!" At that moment, an electric current seemed to surge through Lin Chia's brain, leaving him completely stunned. Lin Chia could not remember what his parents looked like, as they had entrusted him to his aunt after he was born and disappeared without a trace. His mind was now a chaotic mess, perhaps. At that moment, the goddess raises her arms and rushed toward Lin Chia in a hugging position, still excitedly calling out, "My child!" As Lin Chia instinctively opened his arms to receive her embrace, the goddess ran past him, grabbing hold of a vase behind him as tears streamed down her face. "My child! You're still alive! I've finally found you!" Watching this scene, Lin Chia thought he might have an idea of what was ailing the goddess, and her condition was not light. The next morning, Lin Chia woke up groggily, staring up at the bare ceiling and letting out a helpless sigh. After spending the whole night with Nix, he was at loss. He wasn't a doctor, so how could he help her get better? Beside the gate of Sengnan City No. 6 Middle School, there was a man grumbling. He leaned against an electric pole, smoking and blowing smoke into the air. This naturally caught the attention of passing students. This man was none other than Zhao Kongqing, the mysterious man to whom Lin Chia had stood up yesterday. Today, he came specifically to catch Lin Chia. His organization had originally thought that the golden light that appeared the other day was a Klein-level hero, but it turned out that Lin Chia was only a newcomer. When Zhao's captain heard the report, he immediately decided that no matter what, they had to bring the agent of the angel back and not let him fall into the hands of the ancient gods' church. This matter was a higher priority than that of the ghost-masked king. At this moment, Zhao Kongqing thought of his captain's instructions, and his face became serious. While he is here waiting for Lin Chia, the captain led the others to continue to chase the ghost-masked king. He wondered how the captain and the others were doing, whether the pursuit was going smoothly. It wasn't until the gate of number 6 middle school was closed by the guard that he snapped back to reality. Lin Xie, that brat, didn't come to school today. So where did he go? Let's turn the time back to earlier. In the morning, Lin Xie arrived at his destination, the mental hospital. He came to seek consultation on how to cure the goddess in his dreams, as he had no clue how to do it himself. After some discussions with the psychiatrist, the doctor, who had almost no hair left, came to the conclusion that Lin Xie's friend was seriously ill and suffering from a delusional disorder. He suggested that she should be admitted for treatment, but this was not possible. If Lin Xie were to reveal the situation about the goddess in his dreams, he would most likely be forcibly hospitalized instead. In the end, the psychiatrist prescribed medication for Lin Xie's friend to try at home. On the way back, Lin Xie looked somewhat troubled. Could medicine from reality be brought into the dream? Even if it could, it might not necessarily be effective on the gods. Just as Lin Xie passed by the entrance of his middle school, he ran into Zhao Kongchen, who had been waiting there all day, from 6 to 5. He had been waiting for so long that he didn't even notice Lin Xie, but as soon as Lin Xie noticed him, it caught his attention too. Lin Xie turned and ran away as fast as he could. Despite Lin Xie's speed, he was no match for Zhao Kongchen and was caught within seconds. Zhao Kongchen grabbed Lin Xie and sneered. "I finally caught you, you little brat." Lin Xie felt like slapping himself in his own face for choosing this route home. With a bewildered expression, he yelled, "Who are you, uncle? If you keep doing this, I'll call for help." Zhao Kongchen replied coldly, "Today, you're not getting away. Come with me. We need to talk." Zhao Kongchen locked Lin Xie's hand tightly and dragged him along to an unknown destination. When Lin Xie saw that they were approaching a lover's hotel, his face suddenly changed and he tried to escape the scene. "Do we really need to go to a lover's hotel to chat? What are you planning to do?" he asked. "I'm telling you, I have hemorrhoids, so don't mess around." Zhao Kongqing rolled his eyes at the strange behavior. What are students of this era thinking? As Lin Xie was forced to hand over his ID to the excited front desk girl, he was so embarrassed. Who would believe they are just going to chat at this kind of place? The Fujoshi's eye-shining thinking, a rough man dragging a young boy to a lover's hotel to book a big bedroom, much less a passionate themed suit. So under the gaze of the receptionist, the two of them entered the room. After closing the door, Zhao Kongqing pushed Lin Xie onto the bed, but the wicked plot didn't unfold, and Lin Xie only heard Zhao Kongqing say something that made him shiver. "Have you seen Michael?" Lin Xie was deeply shaken by this question, and after a moment of hesitation, he asked the question himself. "So, do gods really exist in this world like in myths? And if they do, what are gods?" Zhao Kongqing began to tell a secret. 100 years ago, in 1922, a year after the appearance of the mist, Xiao dispatched a mist detection team to the Marianas Trench. The team observed a super-large dragon flying in the sky, which was identified as Leviathan, the Chaos Dragon, after research and verification. This was the first time in human history that a mythological creature had been observed, and its existence overturned human cognition. In order to maintain social stability, the higher-ups concealed the existence of mythological creatures and sealed these data. As the first discovered mythological creature, Leviathan was coded as 001. The Archangel Michael that Lin Xie saw was the third mythological creature observed in 1928, with the code 003. Lin Xie was stunned. How was it possible to find the Archangel on the moon when humans had not yet mastered the technology to land on it during that time? Seeing Lin Xie's puzzled expression, Zhao Kongqing took a deep breath of smoke and slowly explained. In March 1928, a golden light shot out from the moon and crossed the universe, leveling a volcano in North America. It wasn't until then that people realized there was still a god on the moon. Due to the influence of mists, it took the Xiao exploration team a year to reach the volcano. After a comprehensive investigation, they discovered the sealed god, code 004, the fallen angel Lucifer, engraved in the ruins of the gods in a deep meteorite crater. At the same time, people discovered that their children that were born after the appearance of the mists have a chance of awakening special powers called Forbidden Ruin. The abilities of Forbidden Ruin would grow with the growth of the owner's spiritual power. Xiao Kongqing mentioned that the golden light yesterday was the energy fluctuation of Michael. He also explained to Lin Xie that his Forbidden Ruin ability was awakened at that time. After hearing these secrets, Lin Xie finally understood that the strange thing that happened to him was called Forbidden Ruin. The dynamic vision and the power of the Archangel that erupted after opening his eyes were the expressions of this ability. Lin Xie, upon learning about his unique abilities, excitedly asked, "So how powerful am I? What's my level?" To which Xiao Kongqing bluntly replied, "You're just a slightly stronger than average person, kid." Xiao Kongqing poured a glass of water and explained slowly. According to the strength of spiritual power, people divide the Forbidden Ruin into 6 major realms. If the spiritual power is like the water in a cup, still and little, it is the first realm, the goblet realm. If the spiritual power is like the water in a pond, abundant but still, it is the second realm, lake realm. If the spiritual power is like the water in a river, abundant and flowing, it is the third realm, the river realm. If the spiritual power is like the water in an ocean, vast and boundless, it is the fourth realm, the ocean realm. If the spiritual power is close to infinite, vast, and magnificent, it is the fifth realm, the unbounded realm. The sixth realm, Klein, is like a bottle that can never be emptied or filled, which is similar to breaking through the space dimension like Klein's bottle. And currently, Lin Xie belongs to Goblet Realm. This detailed explanation made Lin Xie instantly think of something. Last night, he suddenly could open the door of the mental hospital. It could probably be due to his awakening. There were 6 rooms in the psychiatric ward that could correspond to the 6 realms of spiritual power. Does that mean that he could release another patient every time he breaks through a realm? However, this is currently only Lin Xie's own speculation. Lin Xie turned to Xiao Kongqing and asked, "What about you? You're so powerful, what level are you at?" Xiao Kongqing choked on a sip of water. I don't have any Forbidden Ruin, so naturally, I don't have spiritual power." "No Forbidden Ruin?" Lin Xie widened his eyes. "Then how did you kill that monster?" Xiao Kongqing looked a little proud at this point. Although he didn't rely on Forbidden Ruin to kill monsters, he was a former Special Forces soldier before joining the organization, relying entirely on years of combat experience and strict training. Xiao Kongqing continued to explain. "There are 3 ways to obtain Forbidden Ruin. The first is what I just mentioned, Forbidden Ruin obtained naturally from birth. The second is to use special Forbidden Ruin items, such as his notice sign. However, that item is not an attack type. Its function is to open up a boundary-free space, which is a forbidden zone that can isolate combat inside and outside the boundary and prevent them from affecting ordinary people. The third way to obtain a Forbidden Ruin is the most special, which is bestowed by the gods. Lin Xie belongs to this type. Some gods will give part of their power to the humans they choose, making them their agents in the human world, also known as Divine Ruin. At the same time, the agent will also receive orders from the gods. Generally, a god's agent represents the will of the god, and there is usually only one agent per god. Currently, most of the god agents found all aim to cause trouble, trying to destroy the new human order and return the world to chaos. They even formed an organization called the Ancient God Church. Xiao Kongqing walked to Lin Xie and stared into his eyes with a serious expression. "So, what command did Michael give you? Which side do you belong to?" Due to the existence of the Ancient God Church, the position of the 003 God's agent, Lin Xie, is becoming increasingly important to the organization behind Xiao Kongqing. This question made Lin Xie confused. He didn't know and hadn't heard anything. This puzzled Xiao Kongqing. "He didn't say anything? That's not right." According to the organization behind Xiao Kongqing, Michael should be either neutral or belong to the good faction. However, since he gave the Divine Ruin to Lin Xie, why didn't he say anything? What does he want to do? Lin Xie is saying the truth. At that time, Michael looked at him from afar on the moon, and then he passed out and went blind. Michael didn't say a word, and Lin Xie didn't know what he wanted to do. Even if he gave orders, Lin Xie wasn't going to do it. He could always return those eyes to him. After speaking, Lin Xie stood up and was about to leave. At this moment, Xiao Kongqing grabbed Lin Xie's hand. He had revealed so many secrets, and this kid wasn't even curious about his organization. This made Xiao Kongqing a little disappointed. At this moment, Lin Xie was a bit wary. Following the logic in those novels, once someone knows the secrets of this organization, they either need to join or get killed, imprisoned, or brainwashed. Xiao Kongqing was speechless for a moment, and then he hit the young man's head with his hand and said, "Stop watching so much TV." Then he put his arm around Lin Xie and said in a friendly manner, "Listen to me first. There's no danger if you don't join. After all, we are soldiers. At most, they will make you sign a confidentiality agreement." Lin Xie sighed and said, "Okay, I'll continue listening." After the discovery of the first mythological creature, Leviathan, the higher-ups urgently established a military organization to deal with the threat of mythological creatures invading. As time passed, the organization observed more and more mythological creatures and tried to establish contact with some of the deities. They also began training special combat talents. Now, the organization is known as the Night Watchers. As soldiers, their task is to protect the people from the intrusion of gods and monsters. Xiao Kongqing's words carried a hint of seduction. "Isn't this noble? Isn't this cool? So come join us too."